Hey everyone, it's Maya Monday. Welcome back. I'm Maya. If you don't already follow this channel, then please give it a subscribe. It's the first episode that I've put up in maybe a year. So I'm really excited to be back, and I am out of practice, obviously. Anyway, today I wanted to share 5 tips for interviews that I think really helped me to secure a job. So if you don't know, I graduated in May. I worked a summer job and some freelance stuff over the summer, and then just started working my first full-time job about 3 weeks ago. So it wasn't really that strenuous of a process. It actually moved a little bit quickly, but I did have some interview tips I think really worked out in my favor. So the first thing I have is to write FAQs, and this is something that I find helpful for phone interviews when you're not face-to-face with the interviewer. But basically, the sun's changing. Basically, I open up my notebook with a pen and paper, all that, and just think about the most generic interview questions and things that might be asked of me depending on the certain position I'm applying for. And I just write down the actual answers so that way I'm thinking about it. I don't have to feel stumped whenever someone asks me why I'm fit for the job. You have an answer besides because you're hiring. And that's really helpful. Also, whenever you are on the phone interview and you find that the words aren't coming quickly to you, or it just doesn't feel natural, you at least have the text there and you can read it if need be. But even just writing it out is helpful because you're thinking about it and you're getting the answer in your mind, and maybe you haven't even taken the time to think, why do I want this position? Why would I be good for that? And if you have specific reasons and examples, that can really be helpful. And sometimes it's hard to think about all that stuff just on the fly. So the next thing I have is to have an interview outfit. So whenever you're applying to jobs, sometimes it can get difficult to have enough clothes to interview in. If you want to do different outfits, to make sure all these outfits look nice and are clean. So interview clothes and business casual clothes in general can be hard to just wash on the regular. The sun is going in and out behind the clouds, and so it's giving me a lot of different looks, but I hope I don't look terrible. But anyway, it can be hard to coordinate making sure all these different pieces look nice. And it also can feel unnatural being in business casual clothes if you're not used to doing that. And so that can kind of affect your delivery and interviews and your performance just all around. So I would say have one interview outfit that you can really count on, and make sure you feel great in this outfit, that you feel confident and you feel like you're really qualified and perfect for the position. And that way you walk into that and exude all those feelings. You walk into the interview exuding all of that. It's also just more economical to have a single interview outfit. So the next thing I have is to write your thank you cards before you actually leave the interview. So whenever you go in, you know that it's great to do handwritten thank you notes, but sometimes it can get difficult if you forgot to catch the number of the suite, or if you're trying to coordinate with who exactly delivers the mail to each office and all that. It can be difficult. So what's easiest for me is just bring extra thank you cards to the interview, and then after the interview is done, I go to the bathroom or just go somewhere quiet, go back to the reception area, and I write out thank you cards while it's still fresh on my mind, the interview itself. I put specific details so that the interviewer will know that it was me that wrote it, and they'll remember who I was. And I hand it off to the receptionist, or I put it at a desk or in the actual mailboxes for the people that interviewed me. And it may seem like an arbitrary thing to write thank you notes and all of that, and it is. But that's exactly why it's helpful, because if you're not the most qualified person right off the bat, or if you're just the same level as another applicant, you need something arbitrary, and they will be pulling from things like that to determine who will move forward. So if you're the exact same applicant as someone else, they just need that one thing. They'll be oh, you know what? Maya left a thank you note, and I really like that attention to detail. And that'll be the difference between you having to go find another interview and you signing some papers with HR the next week. Number 4 is to talk to someone who is in the company. So I'm someone who loves informationals. I love talking to people who have worked in the industry that I want to go in, or who have been at the company I would like to go to, or worked a position or something similar. Just asking them if they'd be open to go get coffee or talk on the phone, even if you're just putting questions in the body of an email for them to answer. It's great because it gives you more insight on what actually is happening within that sphere that might not be readily available on the internet. And it also is a great networking method. They know who you are. Later on, if they're sitting at their desk and hear about an entry-level position coming up, they'll be like, oh, I talked to this girl on the phone last week and she sounded like she was really interested. Let me send her an email and see if she'd want to apply. And you'll be the person they think of because you're the person who reached out to them. It also is really great because you have someone advocating for you inside. Especially, tell them that you're asking because you're applying for the position and you want to know more about it. And that way, if they know the person that's going to be interviewing you, if they know the person that's going to be your boss, they can go up to them and be like, hey, I actually just chatted with someone who was applying for that position and they sounded great. And your new potential boss will be like, oh, who was it? And that'll be like another little arbitrary thing that is a positive tick mark for you. So I would say totally don't be afraid to hop on LinkedIn and send some messages, send emails. If you can figure out what the structure of emails are and you know the name of somebody and you know, when I say structured email, I mean it's first initial, last name at whatever.com, or maybe it's first name period last name at such.com. If you can figure that out, go ahead. I don't think it's creepy to send emails to people that work in the position, and I think it's a really great method for you to get your name out there, and I think they see it as a positive thing as well. So I would totally suggest that you do that, and in my own experience, it's brought a lot of positive effects and outcomes, so I would really recommend that. The last thing I have for you is to ask what the next steps are whenever you're in the interview. So after the interviewer asks you if you have any questions for them and you give them amazing questions that you have thought hard and researched on, ask them, when can I expect to hear back? Or what happens after this? What are the next steps? You never know really, if there's another interview coming up or if you just straight to get the offer, and you want to know what's coming up and what the timeline looks like, especially if you need to be working by a certain time. At least figuring out the date that you'll hear back, and that way you know when it's okay to follow up, and it also gives you peace of mind. You don't have to be sitting there day 4 post-interview ooh, should I have heard back by now? Did I not get the job? Did I get passed over? What's going on? If you know that you're not going to hear back for another 2 weeks, you don't have to worry for another 2 weeks. If you do forget to ask for the next steps or for the date, the general time period before you follow up is about 2 weeks, so that's what I recommend you wait. And don't be afraid to follow up. Just, hey, I hope you're doing well. I just want to check in and see if there was any news on the position. Please feel free to let me know if you need any more information from me. And that way, at least you're still on their radar. A lot of times, positions just move slowly, so they do need you to kind of pop back in and ask for more details. But I would say send that follow-up, wait for a response. If you don't get anything, maybe wait another week, but basically don't clog up their email asking for updates every single day. That will get very annoying and that might lose you a position actually. So just be mindful of that, and just basically this whole video is about best practices and how to practice them, and I would just recommend y'all stay along those lines, do your research, and just remain positive throughout the experience. Interviewing and job applications, job hunting can get very stressful. Just be the best you, and if you don't get a position, you weren't a great fit, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing to not get a position that you weren't a great fit for, rather than getting one that you're going to hate all throughout your time working there. And I know it gets very stressful and it's hard to kind of see that whenever you have rent to pay and you're in a new place and you just need work. But just stay diligent, stay positive, and good things are coming for you. So hopefully in this video you heard something useful. If so, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you know someone going through this process in life, share the video with them. And I will hope to see you all again later. Bye.